So
Hello,
we're
everyone.
started.
It's Trisha Lee, and I'm here with my partner Larry. We haven't had anybody else join us thus far, but we're looking very forward to having some big players in the world of disruptive technology coming to join us on these Hangouts in the very near future. Larry was actually, just before we went live, we were discussing how exciting it will be to have Elon Musk as one of our guests. He's been a huge inspiration to a project that we are working on because of his decision to give his patents away for the Tesla motor technology. He's inspired us to do a similar kind of activity where we are going to not quite be giving away our patents, but what we are going to do is we are going to be offering the information in a very accessible way so that other people can actually duplicate our prototype and use it for themselves. But that's not really the topic of today's Hangout. Today we are talking about uh, looking for investors when you're a startup company with new technology, especially when it's disruptive technology like Larry's past recycling company and our joint venture in this solar power technology that we've come up with. We've learned a little bit about looking for and securing investment. And so we are kind of setting the intention tonight for this hangout to provide a place to connect people with different types of disruptive technology with serious investors. And we look forward to being very, very profitable business in the near future that will be able to ourselves be investors in other disruptive technologies that we see as valuable, especially with the mind mentalism. So, Larry, can you kind of kick us off here with sharing what you went through and the story of securing investment with your past recycle company?
For plastic parts research.
Which turned into Suncast. Yeah, that's an interesting story
Right.
about having to get investment to move forward, which many new technology companies often find themselves in a position where they have to do that.
Right. Yeah, I think for any disruptive technology or any technology in even in the recycling community, it's difficult to find um, uh, funding or assistance. However, back when I did just make the discovery for the technology used for this recycling or rebuilding plastic parts, the government back then had a program which enabled you to get money to get patents if you had a type of technology that had patentability or was eligible to receive a patent. And um, that was the only funding available at the time. And so I actually was eligible for that, and I received a government grant from the government of Alberta to actually file for that a patent. Today, it's a whole different world, and it's even more difficult for technology in the recycling business or industry or solar or alternative energy to actually find financing. Um, for me, what I did to acquire financing is, as I stated in the last hangout, was that I actually used some big oil companies to finance the startup of my first company, and it carried me for about a year because oil pipeline companies have a lot of money, and because I was just a single guy operating the business. I think you've already lost me here, so I'm gonna have to.
making parts for photocopiers, and then it was suggested to him that they work with something in the oil patch, and they discovered that they could use the technology to recycle pipeline pigs that would go and clean out pipelines. And so he ended up partnering with these oil companies, and they brought investment to the table. And then he can kind of tell you the rest, because I see him coming up here again. Can you go ahead and continue?
Keep happening all the time again. As I was saying, hopefully it'll last year. If it doesn't, I might have to restart my computer. As I was saying, for my first company, getting an oil pipeline company to basically back the company, I can remember it quite well, because they said they weren't interested in becoming part of my company. However, they were interested in providing me funding to start my company. But it had to be in the way where they were purchasing a product. They weren't going to give me a lump sum of money and go, here you go, make it into a reality. They said, well, here's X amount of dollars. Or first they asked me how much I would need to produce this part that they wanted rebuilt. And I went for a pretty high number. And I just gave it to them. I said, it's going to cost about this much. And I think it was $16,000 just to produce the one part. That started the company. So I had $16,000 to play with. And thinking back, there was, I think I went a year after the $16,000 was burnt up. I went a year. I had a great landlord, and I went about a year without paying any rent to my landlord. He was an angel. And he knew, because of what I was doing and what I was working on, I kept my landlord really up to date with what I was working on, and usually the other tenants in the building, because when I started, anyways, I'm getting a little off track. Once the funding ran out, I had to make some decisions, and my next decision was, well, let's do another project for another company. So I lined that up pretty quickly, because it's kind of a small, it's a business where everybody kind of knows each other. The oil patch, one guy talks to another guy, and the other guy talks to another guy. So I developed the trust with one oil pipeline company, and I could use them as a reference to when I talked to all the other smaller oil pipeline companies. And so the next thing led to another project. But this was an ongoing project, because I did one small product for them, which was about $500 or $1,000, and I did it really fast because I had already done the first project. So I'd went through a lot of mistakes with the first project, learned from them, and I had their product produced in probably a month, and they were really happy with it. And they said, well, we're a kind of company that, you know, we're gonna get these done because we're an Alberta company. And the company back then used to be called AEC Pipelines. They were pretty big, and everybody changes names every 5 or so years. And so I don't know what they're called now. That was a long time ago. And I continued making products for them. And then I started branching out into other products. The problem was there was more, I needed more money coming in. It got to a point where some of the repair jobs I'd done didn't go quite as well as they were supposed to, because of things that I didn't know about regarding the plastic I was repairing. And so I ended up putting together an advisory committee. And the advisory committee that I put together enabled me to talk to some people that were highly supportive in what I did. They were also in the recycling community. They were people that were connected to other people in energy and plastics and what else, government. So I built this team up that I could phone whenever I had questions. And then one of these people that was in my advisory committee got really interested in what I was doing. As I told him, I'm starting to struggle a little bit, because I've done these big projects, and there's not too many people wanting more projects done. And once I was making parts, I wasn't making a lot of them. And so he says, well, let's go talk to so-and-so company down in Calgary. I'll drive down there. I know the president of this company. And I thought, really? Because I had heard of this big, I knew of this big company. And so I went with this person who ended up becoming a business partner in the next company I was involved with that used the technology I developed. And so what this person did was we went to Calgary to talk to the president of this company that was interested, or that knew a lot about polyurethane wear parts, which were the parts that I was rebuilding. And they basically discussed further applications for it. Turned out there wasn't a lot in his market anymore because they were changing their propulsion system for their vehicles. So they weren't using these wear parts as much. So anyways, but the meeting went really well, and on the way back we decided to start this new company, and this friend of mine who was on the advisory committee said, well, I know people with money, and I'm going to talk to them, and we're going to start a whole new company. And we created something called a rollover agreement, which is where my company got rolled into this new company with these investors. And so I gave up a lot of ownership of the company. I think I ended up with 20% when all was said and done. And this new company started with lots of financial backing, lots of nice computers, a nice building, and we just kind of went gangbusters and looking for really big parts. And that's how that company was pretty much funded by people that this guy knew that had money. It wasn't through any kind of institution that was interested in backing it, because, like I said, in where this technology was developed and was more for the was not really directly related to the oil and gas industry. So, but it was also a disruptive technology too. And it turned out, I don't know if this is related to the topic, but I remember we got sued by a company that said we were rebuilding their garbage and selling it as if it was their own material, and it didn't even make it. They tried to sue the company, but it didn't even make it to the courts, because if you take something that's garbage and make it into a new part again, when you sell it, you're actually selling garbage that's been reconditioned to work as new, so it's no longer a new part made by the competitor, whoever that might be. Am I off topic?
No, I don't think so. I'm just marveling at how smart I am to have partnered with someone that has so much experience with what we're trying to accomplish here. So I'm just marveling that you know, some of the stuff we've been working together on this project for more than 5 years, and some of this stuff is brand new to me. I haven't heard about it before, so it's really just exciting to know that I really feel like I'm in the right place at the right time, and that we have a mastermind starting here that will be very, very powerful moving forward, not only for us, but for the other disruptive technologies that are coming down the pipe, and that we are eager to help, because I just kind of want to segue into how you were able to align yourself with the oil and gas company, which is very has a lot of wealthy people involved with it that have been profitable for a long time, and so have the ability to back you financially. And then I just want you to compare it to the solar power company, and kind of like since October in 2011, we attended our first trade show, and our intention of going to that trade show was to secure some kind of investment, and didn't really work out so good. And we attended another trade show in Germany with the same intention of securing investment, and it was a little bit more difficult. We being with solar power, we are really able to align ourselves with other companies here that are mainly involved with oil and gas. So we thought that by traveling to these trade shows, we could align ourselves with other solar companies. However, that didn't really work out so well. So do you want to kind of describe what you feel is the reason why we still, as of to date, I think we've secured about $5,000 worth of outside investment, just from friends and family and individuals, on average investing between $500 and $1,000, and it's like less than 10 people and less than $5,000 that has been invested. And any of the big money kind of companies or people that we have talked to have not really shown a lot of interest, and I think that's about to change, especially because of these hangouts that we started doing. However, I just kind of would like to get your thoughts as to what the difference kind of is between funding your old recycling company and looking for investment for this new solar-powered disruptive technology.
Well, I think when we first started looking for people, we met with a company in Calgary that was doing a process called SAG-D exploration. We went down and talked to them about using our solar heat collector, just our solar heat collector, for producing an oil product, of course, from under the ground, whereas they had been using propane, a lot of propane gas, to actually use as a heat source as part of their SAG-D process. They thought they were going to need a lot of solar heat collectors to provide the same BTUs that the propane would produce, or to equal the amount of propane being used. So to go that route with solar heat collectors, that wasn't really a good route for them. And so that opportunity there wasn't much of an opportunity there for funding, because it just didn't balance for them, or it didn't work. I'm not sure exactly why. It was kind of a complicated task for them to use solar to bring this oil product out of the ground in the SAG-D process. And so by looking at other applications or similar technologies, I'm sure a lot of other companies have the same problem. I don't know if I sometimes wonder if we're in the right location, having a solar machine in, like I've said this before, being surrounded by the oil patch and businesses that are connected to oil.
Of course, we're not in the right location, which is why we went to Texas and why we went to Germany, which is what I kind of wanted to touch on. How, yeah, definitely, I don't think we really expected that oil company or even really wanted to do business with what they're doing up in Fort McMurray, as far as meeting with that company in Calgary a long time ago. What I was more interested in getting at was how the challenge that it's been to attract people in the same sector. When we went to talk to and meet with these other companies at the trade show that were in the same industry as us, and how even they were not interested in investing, or even didn't really seem, I don't know, I think the public that was attending the trade show seemed very excited about what we were doing. However, the other companies, I did not feel that we were received well. That's kind of more what I wanted you to talk about.
Well, okay. Well, I think a lot of we're talking photovoltaics, which is the main thing at trade shows. I hadn't really been to a trade show looking for investors, so I wasn't sure what to expect. I guess we learned that you don't go to trade shows to find investors. That's where you go to sell your product, which, I don't think anybody really knew that. And and maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe that is where you go to find investors.
I, I,
However,
I don't know. I think that it wasn't so much that we were looking for an investment so much as a partnership, which is kind of what initially you did with plastic parts research before it became Suncast, in getting that $16,000 from that company to make them their one part. That was a partnership that you were able to create because your previous disruptive technology was in line with what oil and gas was doing, and that is why we traveled to the trade shows, was looking for partners that would invest in bringing our technology to market, but that didn't really work out. So I guess maybe the trade shows are not the places to make those partnerships. However, I don't know, I felt the public was very excited about what we're doing, but the other companies, well, we didn't end up with any partnerships. So your thoughts
right.
on that?
Well, I think a lot of the companies that are at trade shows are already marketing a product that they've probably invested a lot of money into already. And probably their shareholders don't want them to look outside their box. Now, this is what we're selling, this is what we've spent money on, this is what we're producing. If we want to, I don't know if they're interested in going outside their safety zone. Because photovoltaics are just that, they're photovoltaics, they're a certain type of technology, and a lot of companies are selling the same thing without a lot of variance between the two. So I think if you were to make a comparison between what we're doing and what I was doing in the past, I think it would be as if I was to take the technology I had and going to some kind of adhesive convention or an adhesive trade show, and I probably would run into the same problem bringing that technology to a trade show. So I don't know. It makes you wonder if when you have a disruptive technology, do you really want to go to a photovoltaic or a solar show to begin with?
Well, I don't know. I think that it's all been a big learning experience, so I'm grateful for the experience. Also hopeful that some of the connections that we made there will prove to be profitable in the future. And I really enjoy trade shows, so I'm looking forward to attending more of them. Something that I think that we can learn from the experience and from other companies is that in the future when we attend trade shows is that I want to go there with an eye towards looking for talent for other disruptive technologies and helping to nurture those because I see where we're going with this. I totally see it as being a growing concern worldwide, a global profitable corporation, and I feel that I always feel this way, and maybe I try not to think about it or focus on it at all, but it kind of makes me sick to the stomach to think of all the disappointment and missed opportunities that will arise in the guts of or in the souls of all of the people that we connected with there that were not interested because they were stuck in their box and they had their product that they were selling and they weren't willing to take advantage of the opportunity that was presented in front of them and see the potential of somebody else's ideas. So when we go to trade shows in the future, I definitely want to be looking at the new technologies that are coming out with an eye of seeing the opportunities that exist there with new ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's really not a lot of disruptive technology or new technology for that matter that I remember going to when we were at the trade shows that we did attend. I don't remember seeing a lot of really new stuff and then going, wow, is that ever a different way of thinking about it? Whereas what we showed up with there was a completely different contraption. That it wasn't comparable to anything else there. And I think the people we talked to at the trade shows also gave us that feedback. And I remember one in particular when we were in Munich saying that there used to be a time 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago, when we have these Intersolar and SPI trade shows, that there used to be these small mom and pop businesses with these really cool ideas for using solar power that all had merit, but they didn't have the strength that the photovoltaic companies had. I think a lot of that has to do with the photovoltaic piece. You got to remember where that technology came from. It came from NASA. It came from the space exploration industry. So these companies out there, they're sure Sharp is a pretty big company, and I'm pretty sure they were involved with the NASA space program. Siemens is another one. These are big corporations. And so now GE, they're all selling solar panels. So it's not like they're coming out with something new. They're coming up with something they were making for spaceships a long time ago.
Yeah, well, that's true. However, definitely. At the same time, though, I think that when we attended the trade show, I was really focused on our booth and what we were doing. I didn't really have much time to look around at what else was going on. I didn't see anything, but at the same time, I wasn't looking for it, and definitely I'm just setting my intention here that in the future I will be looking for, because I am going to be one of those companies like Sharp and GE, that a huge global corporation that is totally, like, monstrously profitable. So I'm going.
Yeah, I didn't really look around a lot either. I was just basing that on stuff that I heard from people.
I'm setting the intention here that when I go to the trade shows in the future, as a big multinational corporation, I will be going there with an eye to looking for the new ideas and seeking them out. Whereas at this trade show, I didn't hear or see anything new or exciting, really, but I wasn't looking for it. So in the future, I will definitely be looking for it. So back to our kind of topic on investment. Moving forward with King Sunshine, it's looking like we're using the internet is going to be a big way of funding our company. We actually just are doing an experiment with our website where we've added a PayPal donate button. And so we're going to kind of desperate times call for desperate measures. We're at a situation within the company where in order to move forward, we have some major patenting processes to go through that are very expensive in order to get our product tested in a lab. We want to hire engineers to do something called a feasibility study, and this is going to be a major expense. And so we've been looking at some marketing strategies and ways of being able to raise the investment capital that we need to move forward with our disruptive technology using the internet. So do you want to talk a little bit about how we are looking, we are intending to start raising the investment capital that we need through websites? You didn't hear any of that?
I didn't. It's.
Well, Larry, we lost Larry again. I didn't hear anything he said either. So anyway, that's what we're actually doing, and that has to do with Project AWOL has hooked us up with this awesome marketing training. And part of what that training offers is it's showing you how to use the internet as a tool for raising money. Project AWOL is a little bit more focused on growing your own business and being an entrepreneur on the internet. But what we're doing is we're taking their online business model and we are applying it to our disruptive technology and our small startup corporation that we are going to be growing into this giant megawatt provider of um, electrical energy and heat energy. My intention is to be the world's largest utility provider on the planet. That's my intention for this company. So I know my picture's gone, but I'm hoping that you can still hear me. And Larry's picture is still there, but he's stepped away. And so anyway, I'm hoping that you can still hear me. Oh, there I am. Maybe you can see me now. And so yeah, as so right now we're just experiencing a little bit of growing pains where we don't quite have the working capital that we need to really move forward powerfully with our business. But through Project AWOL's training and their awesome marketing strategies, I feel very, very confident that we are just on the very razor's edge of a point where we are about to secure all the investment that we need to move forward even more powerfully than what I'm imagining. And one of my favorite things about this disruptive technology, when my real vision for where it will go, is that the places on the planet that have the most ability to use the technology with the most amount of efficiency and the least amount of expense are any places that are close to the equator that have the most reliable source of sun energy. And as circumstance would have it, most of those places are third world countries. Like close to the equator is a lot of the Central American countries are very, very poverty stricken. A lot of the African countries that are very close to the equator also have issues with poverty. And what I see in my vision is that we have these huge power plants where countries, poor countries like Costa Rica, are selling electricity and heat to Canada, or countries like Kenya that are selling heat and electricity to places like Russia. And I think that we're going to do, our company is going to have this amazing snowball effect where we actually, once we secure the investment to move forward, we're actually going to be able to turn a lot of these third world countries into the new first world countries, the energy powerhouses of the future. So I just have to excuse myself for a minute. Larry, do you want to talk a little bit about your vision for where this company is going once we secure the investment that we need to move forward with our patents and engineering of our product? While I just
So you want me to talk for the next 5 hours then?
5 minutes. I'll be right back.
5 hours or 5 minutes? Well, I can foresee a lot of possibilities for the technology just because of what it is and where we are at after 7 years of working on working with the technology, developing it, and putting all this amazing technologies together and equipment together to produce our end goal, which we're pretty much this far from being there. We're just waiting for a certain switch, a custom-made switch to arrive, which is the last remaining piece of the puzzle. And we've known this switch has been the piece of the puzzle for probably a year now. We've gone through several of them, and we've now ended up with something that's very state-of-the-art that we've been guaranteed by the manufacturer that it will not fail in our applications. Never heard that from any manufacturer before. It was always trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. And so what I foresee happening with our with King Sunshine Solar Systems and other companies that are similar to ours, I think the purpose of this hangout is to actually bring them all together and work together for the common goal, and that is to bring all our products to market and not have to give stuff away. Like it kind of breaks my heart that the Tesla Motors company has actually had to go as far as bringing their patents to public domain. It was quite kind of shocking. I just heard that recently within the past couple of days. And it's a little sad because of what their business is and what they're doing, that people are not going to buy these electric cars. They're not going out and buying them. And it's just baffling to see why people aren't going there to buy them. It's actually quite a bit in the news right now, because I think the world is there's kind of a sympathy thing being generated by this announcement, that everybody's going, what the heck, this guy's got patents, he's giving them away to the world, he's really serious about saving the planet. So he's not all about money, 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 he's all about, let's get these electric cars out on the road and get people buying them, whether it's his company selling them or another one. So I think that's where all these technologies, or that's the headspace that all these technologies really have to be in, to bring us all forward, to bring all these disruptive technologies in especially in renewable energy, out of the darkness and into the forefront. It's starting to happen. It's a slow shift. It's a real slow progress where it's taking shape, but I think it could be a lot faster. We're still relying on the old.
I think it will be a lot faster. I think that we're going to play a major, major role in that. And what we've talked about, I don't want to quite release the information at this very moment, but we have an amazing plan that is going to bring all disruptive technology, make it readily available for people to use right away, and just really speed up the whole process of disrupting this fossil fuel burning economy that exists right now, and changing it and turning it around and revolutionizing it in a very, very short time. And I think that it has been a little bit slow up to this point. It took a lot of time for people to even realize that the internal combustion engines and the burning of fossil fuel was causing a problem. But I think most of the people that are on the planet today are well aware of that there is a problem. And so because of that, the solutions are out there, and they are everything is just accelerating and going faster and faster and faster and faster. The technology where it's going so quickly towards betterment for people everywhere. And these hangouts are an amazing tool, as well as social media sites like Facebook are all amazing tools that are bringing the information quicker and more readily available and in a more efficient way to more people every day. And so it's really exciting that we're going to play a major part in changing that slow revolution of moving away from fossil fuels into a very, very, very fast change, and just totally disrupting everything. That's the whole idea and point behind all of this, is the disruption that's going to be created. And I'm super excited about playing a major role in doing that, because I felt ever since as a little girl, I felt a responsibility to mainly animals, but people and plants, but I've just felt this responsibility of fresh air and clean water as being something that every form of life on the planet deserves in abundance.
I don't think you're the only kid who thought that.
No, and definitely not. And so it's super encouraging that I think instinctively as children we feel that, and then it's the brainwashing of like television and media that teaches you, oh, but we need to do it this way because it's our economy and it's economics and blah, 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 a bunch of like nonsense. And then it slowly takes that instinctual childhood knowledge that, hey, clean air and clean water is important, and it kind of takes you away and washes your mind and washes that instinct that we all kind of have deep down as children. in a lot of cases, it's washed away by this whole idea of economics and this and that and a bunch of like really like non-important stuff. So
I just wanted to ask you if you your video camera's not picking up from your top of your glasses up. It looks like you don't have the top of your head there. Is that just on my viewer that I'm seeing that? I'm not seeing your full face when you're talking.
oh,
It's just the top of your head's being cut off while you're talking. It looks kind of funny. Can you see that?
I don't really care. I can see my whole head on my screen, but I don't really care because it doesn't really matter what I look like. What's important is the words that I'm saying. So
Okay.
I know my video totally cut out and nobody could even see anything, but what's really important is what I'm saying. It doesn't really matter how I look or how anybody looks for that matter. It's all about the thoughts that exist within inside and actually your outward appearance a lot is created by what goes on in your mind. So whether the top of your head is missing from a picture or not, then, but you know what's really funny about that is I was just commenting on Facebook to somebody how pissed off I was about them selling their t-shirt, and they actually had it cut off like at the chin. So they're trying to highlight the t-shirt, but it's like hurting my brain looking at this woman with her like from the chin down showing the t-shirt. It's like, I want to see her face. I'm not buying your damn t-shirt unless I can see the face. Anyway, that's kind of off topic, but hopefully people can see my whole face now because, yeah, probably
That's better.
prefer to see my whole face, but I think it's definitely more important what I'm actually saying than what you're seeing. So back to what I was talking about before, as far as our trade show experience was not very powerful in getting the investment that we were looking for, but I really, really am confident and have a strong belief that the training that I've been doing through Project AWOL and mentoring with Kameron George, I really, really have a strong feeling that that training and what we're doing on the internet is going to bring us somehow, some way, it's going to bring the investment capital that we need in order to move forward. So how do you feel about what we're doing on the internet to try and move our business forward?
Oh, definitely. The Empower Network is a huge part of. We wouldn't be doing this Google Hangout if it wasn't for that. Personally, I've only been to 2 events, I think, and I only attended the educational side in one, and the amount of material I learned from that. Like my job with King Sunshine is actually the product development, but it's good to know some of the marketing tools that you're learning. The tools are invaluable, and I think if there are other companies that have that are startups that are in alternative energy, even if it's a completely new type of energy like what we've developed that's not got anything to do with photovoltaics or the standard products that people are exposed to today, even if it's something people don't know about, this Empower Network would definitely be a good place to load up on some marketing tools, because it's probably more important than your product is your marketing tools. Like, you can have a great product, but you have to have the right tools to bring it to market. And I think how long have you been with the Empower Network? Just a little over a year. Yeah, and so the stuff that you've learned in that short amount of time, and what is on the horizon that we're not talking about this evening, we'll hopefully be talking about in the next few hangouts, is really marketing to bring in that financial backing to bring it to the market on a larger scale. I think these tools are definitely good for that. And this creation of this hangout for alternative energies is I've never seen anything like it. It's nice to be involved with the start of it. I don't think there's any kind of Google Hangout.
I'm looking forward to bringing a lot more people, getting them involved with what we're doing here, because I know there's a lot of interest, and it won't be long, folks. I'm sure that there are people all over the world reading our emails right now and thinking, yeah, I want to talk to those guys about. I met them in Texas, or I've seen them in Germany, and I want to get on the internet and talk to them about where they're at now. Because yeah, there's a lot of people really interested in what we're doing because it's fascinating. But well, what you're doing is fascinating. The business end of it that I'm doing is also interesting to a different type of person. But anyway, yeah, definitely. What the training that Project AWOL the most valuable thing about it is that it gets you thinking in a new way. Like for me, it totally changed there was a shift that went on in my mind that's been more powerful than anything that I've ever experienced in my life, where I'm now the type of person who everywhere that I look, I see opportunity. And I used to be the kind of person that looked at things and saw limitations. Like, for example, with Texas, when I found out about the Texas trade show, I thought, oh, well, that would be
Good.
fun
You were in the pool.
to go and
Cool.
to participate in the trade show with in Texas. I thought, oh, well, that would be really cool. But right away, my mind thought with, well, I don't have any money to go to Texas. How will I get there? Or our prototype doesn't even work. It doesn't even do anything. Why should we take it there and show people something that doesn't? It's not even. But somehow, some way, I still kind of thought, well, that I wanted to go. I had that desire enough so that actually, it's kind of a funny story. What happened is that there was a big hailstorm, and Larry and I were both able to make claims with our insurance company for damage from hail, and then we got money from the insurance company, and rather than fixing our cars and taking all of the hail damage out of the cars, we took the money and went to Texas. So, but with Project AWOL, I never even would have went through that whole scenario of thinking of the limits of, oh, I don't have the money. How could I go to Texas? I don't know, or why would I want to, or I would have listened to the naysayers because there was a lot of people who said, oh, that's a stupid idea. You shouldn't go there. Why would you waste your time? Why would you waste your money going to Texas? I wouldn't have listened to that even for a second today. Today, there is no person anywhere that can tell me that I cannot achieve anything that I've set my mind to. Absolutely every single thing. Actually, I just came up with this new saying for myself and for everyone else out there today. I just had this idea while listening to Bob Proctor and his awesomeness. So I was listening to Bob Proctor and I came up with this new saying for myself is, you can do anything you want, or you can do everything you want. And I personally am choosing to do everything that I want. So I totally, thanks to this, it's marketing training, but it's like life expanding knowledge that just teaches you to see possibilities where other people see limitations. And that's been the most valuable thing that I've got out of it. But on top of that, there's also all this really cool tools that help you grow any business whatsoever on the internet, or if you don't even have a business, they'll show you how to start one. So it's super valuable. I'll have a link to it. I have a link to it on all my videos that you can look at Project AWOL and what they do. But however, so now we have started using the internet as a tool and looking for investment that way, and it's just, I think I have a very, 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 very strong belief that is going to be way more efficient and way, way more easy to obtain the investment that we require than going through all of that trade show kind of education that we went through. That was like a really inefficient way to secure investment for technology. And we kind of learned that maybe a little bit the hard way, but it was fun and it was a really great learning experience. However, it did not get us the investment that we were looking for. And now I think with what we've learned with Project AWOL, we will be getting that via the internet. So super exciting times in the next couple of days even. I see some big happening for us. And we will be here every single day leading up to Orlando to update you as to what's going on. I'll just give you a little tidbit. We had, Larry talked about with his first company securing a government grant. And we have actually applied for a couple of different government grants for these projects that we're working for. However, I tend to be a very impatient person in business and otherwise, and so I am getting a little bit frustrated with not hearing back from the government on the status of our grant applications. So we are taking grant applications that we did and we are rolling them over, and we are going to be producing some Kickstarter campaigns that are following basically the same format as our government grant applications, although I know that things on the internet move a lot faster than any government anywhere, so I'm super excited about being able to indulge my impatience with a website like Kickstarter. So do you have any more comments on using the internet as a tool for securing investment in business, Larry?
Well, I think sticking to the plan of using this this platform, this Hangout, if other companies that are similar to King Sunshine Solar Systems, you can have a look at our website and see what we're actually doing. If you're similar, if you're in watching this Hangout and you're involved with a similar business, or you know of a similar business that is coming out with some really neat technology, and you've gone, hey, that's really cool stuff. These guys need to get some backing. I think what this Hangout can really establish is the more and more companies and company representatives that have this type of new technology get involved with this Hangout, there's powers in numbers. And eventually somebody's going to pay attention to it and go, what's going on here? Like, what is this Hangout with all these different organizations all talking about their disruptive technology and not having the funding to get it to market? I want these people to get to market. So there should be a way for us to get those people involved that have the financial backing to get involved with companies like ours and all the rest. Another thing I'd like to say before we conclude this Hangout is that the Trish was telling me about a TED Talk that she saw where there was an expert talking about new technologies, and this expert said, if you have any kind of free energy device or technology, give it away. She told me this, and I almost fell off my chair when she said that. I said to her, like, I got a little bit uptight and said, I've been working on this 6 years, and we've got 2 patents pending right now. You want to just give it away? I wasn't really understanding what she was talking about until I actually sat back and thought about it, and thought about how, yeah, sure, if we had something that the oil patch needed, we'd be in there. We'd be in there like that. But because we have something that's out of the envelope, a little bit different, and yeah, it's free power, free energy, there's a lot of powers that be that don't want to see this stuff get to the market. However, there are those tree huggers, as they're called, that are out there, and people with assets and money that they want to see these businesses come to life. They're the people going out and buying the electric cars from Tesla and from the Leaf and all these other electric vehicles. So I think it's really smart to stick to this Hangout being for companies like King Sunshine Solar System and all the other ones that are struggling to bring their product to market. There's power in numbers, people, and the more people we get on this Hangout with all these different technologies of free energy or disruptive technology for energy, I know there's powers in numbers. I've seen it in the past. We can do a lot together. What's that? United we stand, divided we fall. You know, it's an
The
old saying.
wall, right. Just a little disclaimer there. I'm not giving anything away because I learned that people resist free. Free is a bad thing in people's mind. It's brainwashing. It's not true at all. It's a total bogus myth. But because of the cultural conditioning, people have these ideas like there's no free lunch, and it's too good to be true. So I'm not giving away anything for free because people will not value things that are free. Oh, and it's funny, Larry, because the whole time you were talking there, I was only seeing like from like the middle of your eye down. And yeah, it does look kind of funny, but what you were saying, now I just see your mouth down.
Can I
But
prove
what
my
you were
point?
saying, the words were fine. People understood the message anyway. So, but I don't know if everybody can see all of my face now either. But anyway, so that I won't be giving anything away for free, like what the TED Talk talked about. However, I have an awesome action plan that will make our technology super accessible, very, very accessible. As close to free as I can think of, but I'm not going to quite go to free because I understand that people do not value things that are free. If it's free, then they think it's a scam or it's too good to be true, or they're not going to believe in what we're doing if we just give it away for free like the TED Talk guy talked about. However, we're going to make it so accessible that we're going to build these massive amounts of people that know exactly what we're doing, and they will, like, because I think that there's that urban legend that people have heard everywhere about the carburetor that would go, 1,000 miles to the gallon, and then the oil companies bought the patents for it and put it on the shelf and hid it away from sight. And I think there might be some truth to that story. And if there is truth to that story, we do not want to see that happen with our disruptive technology. Or if there's other people that have similar technology that they're working on, we want to prevent that from happening. And the way to do that is, in my belief, getting it out, the information out there and readily available to as many people as possible. So I have an action plan for that. We'll be discussing on a future Hangout. And so I'll just turn it over to Larry for closing thoughts before I wrap it up. On investment.
My closing thoughts.
On closing thoughts on investment in disruptive technology.
If you believe in it, put money into it. It's pretty simple.
Alrighty then. Thought you were going to say something about your donate button that you put on the website. Anyway, I will have a link to our website and to the Project AWOL opportunity somewhere in the description of the recording of this Hangout. And we will continue tomorrow talking about another fascinating subject, probably in relation to disruptive technology, or maybe we'll switch it up. We're going to be doing these Hangouts every night leading up to our trip to Orlando, where we will be meeting up with Project AWOL and masterminding about building our business using the power of the internet. So I'm super looking forward to continuing with these Hangouts and sharing more about our Kickstarter campaigns, about our future investments, etc., etc. So go out there and make it a great day, night, and if I don't see you in the future, I will see you out in the pasture. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, everybody. Bye, Larry.
Bye-bye.